All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trading Bitcoin with your host, Tone Vays. The year is almost over. I need to start promoting our epic live stream for. I always forget to mute my YouTube. Uh, we're getting close to year end, which means we are getting close to Bitcoin's 12th birthday. I cannot believe it's been 12 years with the launch of '09 and now the beginning of wait, is it the first year is on year number 10. So your 10th year is on year number 20. Hey, 11th birthday. Sorry, not 10th birthday. Bitcoin's 11th birthday. I'll try to do the math in my head. So I believe it's 11. This is going to be a great year. Why am I not in focus? There we go. Now in focus. And let's go to the charts. Let's see what's going on. Let's see if we can get that push into 30,000. Okay. Hey guys, if you want to support, the videos are still on sale. They'll be on sale in January as well. So enjoy the holidays and no rush on those. Monthly charts coming to an end. I really like the fact that we closed yesterday above 27,000. Closing above 27,000 last night in the US made me comfortable going to bed and not being too scared of my position. So let's see what the daily brings. Before we get to the daily, we'll glance at the weekly. The weekly has actually pulled back. It's another day. It's another day of consolidation, which could be good on a daily scale. But on a weekly scale, we're still okay. Still nothing to be concerned about. I like the bullishness of this. The more we consolidate, gives a chance for the moving averages to catch up. And the weekly is still bullish. This might be a very short video. The daily chart closed the day very well. But you see the swing low overnight in the US below the prior candle's low. That was concerning, but the price has pulled back up. We are back to 26.5. Oh, we are dropping. We were a lot higher than this when I started making this video about 10 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago when I was starting to set up. Let's go to the lower level time frame even. So this is a 1 hour chart. So an hour, the last hour when I was looking at the price of Bitcoin, we were above 26.8 and it was looking very, very good. This is a little bit concerning that we were not able to get back to 27.2, 27.3. And we are now pushing back down based on what is happening right now. And I'm going to the 10-minute chart. This is a little concerning. I was all ready to make a happy Bitcoin number go up video. But last night, as you can see, we fell right to this bottom line. And I know I drew this line on probably a 1 hour chart. And on a 1 hour chart, I'm ready to adjust this line a little bit. Remember to the Tone Vays rules. We want to hit as many candles as possible without breaking any of their bodies. So we can raise this line because by raising it, we have not broken any rules of breaking the bodies, but we have just added an additional candle to touching the line. This becomes a very critical line. Below this line, I would be pretty pessimistic, but I am not ready to dump my GBTC shares. As you can see, GBTC is closing the gap. And once again, I feel like an idiot for not getting out. Look at the GBTC premium getting absolutely annihilated, down to 16%. Since I missed, and this is the job of a trader. The job of a trader is to put yourself in the best possible position. Now, because I had exited 25% of my GBTC back here, and I wish I did more, And now I see the destruction of the GBTC premium. I am now going to hold out into January 2nd, because two things will happen on January 2nd. First of all, on January 2nd, I would be able to add an additional $6,000 into my Roth IRA. And trust me, that transfer is going to take place on January 2nd. The whole thing, my entire annual maximum allocation, is going into my Roth IRA. If you don't know what a Roth IRA is, and I am not a financial advisor, and I am certainly not a retirement account advisor, but we're just Googling Roth IRA, and we're going to the first link that showed up, which is Investopedia. Not a huge fan, but good enough. What is a Roth IRA? A Roth IRA is an individual retirement account or an IRA that allows qualified withdrawals on a tax-free basis, provided certain conditions are satisfied. So what are the conditions? So check this out. A Roth IRA is a special retirement account where you pay taxes on money going into your account, and then all future withdrawals are tax-free. That means if I put $6,000 into a Roth IRA and I'm not supposed to withdraw it until I'm 60 or something, and I still have some time to go, I know I'm getting old. So if I turn that $6,000 into $60,000 in the next 20 years, which I think is possible, especially with Bitcoin, possible, not guaranteed, but possible, I can withdraw that $60,000 tax-free, no taxes, not a penny. Now, and you can add $6,000 a year into your Roth IRA. Well, since the moment you start, since the age of 18, basically. And imagine adding $6,000 since the age of 18, assuming you're a responsible 16-year-old with a job, and you can put $6,000 aside every year into a Roth IRA, and you invest that $6,000, even if you invested in the stock market itself, all those gains tax-free. All those gains tax-free. So whatever age you are, I'm not going to say my age, even though people know my age, but let's assume my average audience age is 35 years old. I think that's a fair assessment of the average age of my audience. The shitcoin channels, more like, 18 years old on average. But my audience, I say 35 years old is the average. So, or let's even lower that. Let's say 33. That's 15 years you could have done this since the age of 18. And that's 15 years. 18 plus 15 is 32. So 15 years, we can do the math. 15 years, well, it's actually a little hard to do the math, right? So you're putting in $6,000 15 years ago, which means 15 years ago from 2020 puts it in 2005. So you put in 6,000 in 2005. I'm on a monthly chart. I did not mean to turn this into a retirement account. But let's go to 2005. And to today, that is a 210% return in the S&P, just the S&P. Okay, so that's $6,000 in 15 years. That is a return, right? Hold on. I'm not a fan of that. I don't know if it's showing me the return. Yeah, it is. That is Over 200%. So you tripled your money. Oh, wow. I have someone at the door. Shit. Hold on. Oh, no, it's okay. It was totally my fault. And I thought it would be after 11:30. Sure, just take a look at anything. Please. No, it's not that bad. Like, it's not.
I'm not here to inspect, I'm just, that was kind of.
All right, guys. I actually didn't even mute. Give me a second. I totally mismanaged this. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Wow, I totally screwed up the timing on this. Yeah. Yeah, it's well, let's just say it's time to sell your assets. Let's just say that. Hence, I mistimed something. Okay, so let's get back to this. So that $6,000 would have doubled in value. So from 6,000, you now have 18. Now, a year later, you put in another 6,000. So now we go to 2006. Wait, here's 2005. Right, so you more than doubled. Like here is, yeah, oh yeah, okay, let's say you double. Let's say you tripled it, sorry. And then in 2006, you add another 6,000. And guess what? That also tripled. So now you turned 6,000 into 18, another 6,000 into 18. Then you put in another 6,000 in 2007. That went up 1.5. So you turned that 6,000 into whatever, into say 14. And then the following year, in 2008, that almost tripled. So now you're adding another 18. And then the following year in 2009, you did really well, because if you put in early in 2009, you quadrupled it. So you turned that 6,000 into 24,000. Like, I hope someone's adding these up. In 2010, you more than tripled, you more than doubled it. You more than tripled it, actually. 200% is a tripling. So it's a 3x. It's 100% is 2x. So 200% is 3x. And you keep going. So that 6,000 that you've added for 15 years, that's about 100 grand. So 6,000 times 10 plus that's 90 grand. But you would have turned that 90 grand probably into something over $500,000 just by putting in $6,000 a year. And just in the S&P 500, no trading needed, just the S&P 500. And all those returns are tax-free, completely tax-free. You withdraw them when you're 60 years old and they are tax-free, okay? And on January 2nd, I would be able to add another 6,000. And what I am also doing is I am converting my IRAs into Roth IRAs, which is not something you should do in one fell swoop, because that's a huge tax burden. But it's also known as I guess they call it a backdoor IRA, but you can just Google, IRA to Roth IRA conversion. And that's what I've been doing. So Roth IRA conversion rules is a Roth conversion, right? I mean, you can read about it, right? And converting your traditional IRA to a Roth IRA from Fidelity. There you go. And I've been doing this on Interactive Brokers, and you can read about this, but that's what I've been doing. And I wish I knew more about this stuff when I was younger. Like, I wish someone educated me on IRAs and Roth IRAs and the importance, especially the Roth IRA. If you have any ability to manage and invest your money, a Roth IRA is absolutely incredible. Only if you are responsible at managing your own money. Is a Roth, I mean, I don't know what the rules are in the UK, but I mean, if you Google UK, like Roth IRA in UK, I mean, maybe a Roth IRA in UK, Roth IRA UK version. I'm sure there's something. The UK Stocks and Shares Individual Savings Account, ISA, is the equivalent of USA's Roth IRA. Okay, so there you go. So to read about it, like, I don't know if that's true or not. You may have to check with your broker. You may have to check with your, investment advisor if you have one. I'm not your investment advisor, but there it is. I'm sure the rules are similar. So check that out. Right. What's the UK equivalent of a Roth IRA? And yeah, it looks like the consensus of Reddit has it as ISA. Stocks and Shares ISA. There you go. Okay. And if you go to my on-demand videos and you go to like Tyler Jenks's videos, we made it free. So if you go to the Tyler Jenks's YouTube channel, he has we made this free. This was a paid video. So if you go to the Hyperwave YouTube channel, Hyperwave YouTube, and look at the last video we released on the Hyperwave YouTube channel. There it is. Understanding retirement accounts. Must watch. Absolute must watch. This used to be like a $200 webinar, $200-300, but it was made free last Christmas. Please check it. It's too important to not be free. So we made it free. Okay, back to the charts. So the fact that GBTC premium is cratering, it is now 14%, 15%, and I totally screwed up in getting out. So guess what I'm doing? I'm not getting out. I'm going to go back in. Not only am I going to go back in with that 14% that 25% that I'm thinking like 14, 15 here. Not only am I going to go back in with my own 25%, I will have an additional $6,000 as of the first week of January, and I will have additional money in my Roth IRA because I'm going to finish my 3-year conversion process from the IRA to the Roth IRA because I broke it up into 3-year chunks in order to minimize my tax burden. Because when you move from an IRA to a Roth IRA, you now have to pay the taxes on your IRA funds. But I'm paying the taxes now, so I don't have to pay them later. All right, so I hope this was kind of useful. And it's really crazy how GBTC cratered between yesterday and today for 13%, while Bitcoin probably has not moved. If I go to the last 2 days, Bitcoin has not moved. So GBTC is down 13+%, while Bitcoin is down like 2%, but I am using candle bodies. Obviously, GBTC trades 7 hours a day, and Bitcoin trades 24. And I am not gonna, I've screwed up enough by not paying attention to GBTC back in 2013, 14, 15, and 16, and 17. But 18, 19, and 20, I did not screw up, and I wish I paid more attention to GBTC. That is insane. And that is because the lockup period ended, which I also was not paying attention to. Should I sell GBTC or invest in it? That is not for me to tell you. That is up to you. Like this week, I was ready to sell my GBTC, but I'm also ready to buy my GBTC. It's your decision. It is absolutely your decision. Right. Now you can say that it's only $1 to $2 more, but $1 to $2 more can be tens of thousands of dollars. It depends on how big your positions are. So, don't knock it. Like, for example, I was talking about Zoom taking a nosedive, and then I was also talking about Costco rallying off of the MRI low. Now you can say, hey, what the hell is the big deal? Assuming you got into Costco properly at the break of the prior candle's high, and assuming you're holding it till right now, you can say, hey, what's the big deal? It's an $8, it's $8.50 move on a $370 stock. Who cares? It's only 2%. But if you're buying, 10,000 Costco shares, That's 10,000 times $8. That's 80 grand on an amazing trade. So you can't say that $1 or $2 doesn't make a difference, because it can make a difference when your position is large enough. And we're not even talking leverage. We're just talking straight up buying shares. So when someone is potentially ready to allocate, a huge chunk to GBTC, $1 makes a huge difference. Huge difference. I still like the bullishness of Costco, by the way. So at this point, I hope GBTC keeps falling, especially due to the low premium, because I want to buy this sucker at the lowest possible premium. But now I need this to keep lowering the premium, to keep lowering into next year, because it'll take a few days to process the $6,000 coming out from a bank account, clearing through the brokerage. So Bitcoin is, I don't like this posture. And the reason why I don't like this posture is because now this horizontal line is no longer useful. And what we can now have is the potential of a descending triangle on the 1 hour chart. And that's a nasty one. That is a really nasty one. All we need, honestly, is just one more bounce off of this without breaking that. And this becomes pretty bad. This is not a picture I want to see. While there was no descending triangle on this chart yesterday, there certainly is one right now. And that is an ugly looking chart. Absolutely ugly. Consolidation here looks good. The daily chart still looks good, but the hourly chart looks bad. So based on the hourly chart, this triangle is now scaring me into a potential drop of $1,700, which would take us down to just under 25 grand. Now we do have support right here at also just under 25 grand. So either way, this is what we're looking at. But we have better support here at just above 24 grand, because that's where, so now, right, that's where that last breakout was. But now this purple line needs to be raised to be the best, most optimal line. And I can now extend this. And that's enough. So right here, this zone, this is the zone of target if this descending triangle breaks down. And I do not like the look of this descending triangle. Let's glance at the 4 hour chart, just because I haven't yet. Of course, the same triangle will remain. On a 4 hour scale, we can raise this line. We can adjust this line, to be a little less steep. That's okay. And we can adjust this line up. So on a 4-hour scale, but I like the 1-hour scale, guys. I really like the 1-hour scale. Yeah, I mean, that's a good line. That's a good line. All right, any questions? Tone, do the same principles you have for IPOs apply to Elon Musk's companies? If he decides to take SpaceX or Sharealink public, or is it different than the IPOs can only go up since it's Elon Musk? No, it's not different. It depends how the IPO is priced. And you can gauge how the IPO is priced based on the hype of the IPO plus the visceral reaction to the opening price of the IPO. For example, everyone was laughing at how, not laughing, but Lyft had a huge IPO price, like laughably huge by anyone who knows markets. On the other hand, Uber's IPO price was laughably undervalued. So I never expected Uber to fall 50%, but I expected Lyft to fall 50%. And that's exactly what happened. Now, a company like Google IPO'd very, very accurately. And that one never pulled back. But most companies don't IPO properly and they fall 50%. So it really depends on how they're evaluated and what kind of hype there is going into the IPO. Most of them fall 50%. Is there an MRI bottom on a DXY weekly? I don't know. Let's go and find out. No. Well, it's daily. Yes, there is. That is an MRI bottom on DXY weekly. Unfortunately, it's not a very clean bottom. See, this is a beautiful MRI bottom on DXY in that it created the low and immediately rallied, created a 1 to 4 candle correction to the upside as a dead cat bounce and entered the extension phase. Now, if we open up the extension phase, you can see how the extension phase is still going and it's nearing the end. They are all nearing the end. So I am actually still bearish on the weekly dollar. I do not see this MRI bottom as reversing the market. First of all, this is a consolidation at the bottom. And second of all, none of the extensions that kicked off from this MRI buy have been realized. So this is one of those rare cases where extensions take priority over the leading MRI trend count. So I will trust the extensions. And we have extension A on 11, extension B only on 8, and extension C on 9. And this thing still has weeks and weeks and weeks to go. So I remain bearish DXY. Good question. Is Roger trying to sell you shitcoins? Well, only for the last 4 years. Next. Oh, that was a comment about the knock on my door. Yeah, maybe. Tone, so the only way to contribute to your IRA or Roth IRA is to have taxable income the previous year. Well, yes, of course. Maybe not the Roth IRA. I think in order to contribute to your IRA, you need to have taxable income. I'm not sure if you need taxable income to contribute $6,000 to your IRA. I don't know. I haven't thought about that. I mean, I've I've always had $6,000 worth of taxable income. I have been working since I was 13 or 14. And I'm not sure if I had $6,000 a year worth of, well, I didn't have taxable income at 14 because I was working illegally, the way I'm getting my haircuts illegally right now. But after the age of 16, I believe I was making $6,000 a year at that age, at least. Now, of course, I wasn't smart enough to put that entire money into my Roth IRA for obvious reasons. I had better things to do with that money when I was 16 and 17. And then I had 2 jobs while I was in my university the whole time. 2 jobs. I had 3 jobs in total, but 2 of them always overlapped. Yeah, you'll need to check on that. Like I think my employment when I was 13, 14, 15 has passed the statute of IRS's limitations. Which university did you go to and what did you study? You know, if you start Googling, you can find my universities. I've doxed myself enough. I can tell you what I studied. I have 3 degrees. I have a degree in geology. I have a degree in mathematics, and I have a degree in financial engineering from graduate school. And in between those, I studied a bit of astronomy because I kind of like, never mind. I wanted to do something different with my life, but then I realized how hard astronomy was because it's all physics, and not that financial engineering was easy. And I also almost completed an education certification. So I was also an education major. So while I was a total fuck up in high school, barely having a B average, I ended up graduating undergraduate with 172 credits while having 2 jobs. And those that went to college and know you only need 120 credits to graduate, I graduated with 172. But it did take me 5 years, not 4. Well, people are like, what made you interested in geology? Well, in high school, I was really only good at 2 things. Well, school-wise anyway. I was good at sports, but that doesn't really that's not gonna make me. That's not gonna make a career out of me. So besides being good at sports, I was good at math and science, and I barely passed my English classes, which you can tell by my spelling on Twitter. And I failed history, which now I would absolutely love. And I even failed like music. Like I failed multiple classes. Like I was a total dumbass in high school. But there was also a language barrier because I'm an immigrant. And like I failed multiple. I had few Fs on my high school, like in my high school grades. But I did have straight A's in math and almost straight A's in science. But everything else in high school, like every other subject, except for art, I was pretty good at art too. But again, you can't make a career out of that. Yeah, Delvin Cook's great. I was at Florida State when I mean, not during championship years, but or year. There were some good players, like Devin Booker was playing, and I'm trying to think of a couple of others that were playing that made the NFL. Anyway, But yeah, my high school, I was not a good high school student. So my options for undergraduate university was very limited. And because of my limited options in my undergraduate university, it didn't really matter how good my grades were in college because it was not going to be easy getting into a good grad school. And at the same time, I am terrible at standardized testing. Absolutely terrible. If I tell you my SAT score, you guys would laugh. Like no college should have accepted me. My GRE score was terrible. But hey, I got the degree in financial engineering. But I am so bad at standardized testing. Incredibly bad. Like here's another example of how bad I was at standardized testing. I had straight A's, I think my junior year in math or sophomore year in high school. Like my sophomore year in high school, I had straight A's and it was a joke. Like it was easy. And I got straight A's. And then I took the Regents exam at the end of that year, and 65 is passing, and I got a 66. like that's how bad I am at standardized testing in a subject that was a joke to me. All right. Anyway, enough about my education. Tone, can you rank you, Willie, and Jimmy in terms of general intelligence? Well, I'm third. I don't know about Jimmy versus Willie. I know I'm third on that list. I'm not going to decide between those two guys. Yeah, I'm terrible at standardized testing. Like, let's just say the first time I took the SAT, well, I also didn't study much in high school. The first time I took the SAT, I didn't break 1,000. That's how bad I did on the SAT, guys. I did not break 1,000 the first time I took the SAT. I have no idea what my IQ is. That's a good question. So IQ, I mean, IQ is like a bell curve, and 100 is the average. 100 is the average. So you're either above average or below average. I have never taken an IQ test, and I have no idea how I would do. And I don't know what I would want to see. Because if, let's say I take an IQ test, right? And this is actually kind of funny. Let's say I take an IQ test and it comes back that I have an IQ of 120, which is pretty damn good and way above average. I'm going to be really pissed that this is all I've accomplished with an IQ of 120. On the other hand, if I take an IQ test and it comes back 80, I'm going to be so freaking happy based on what I've accomplished with an IQ of 80. So it's a double-edged sword taking an IQ test when you're an adult. Like the higher my IQ score is not going to make me happier. I don't think it's a poor test to measure intelligence, actually. I think an IQ test is a great way to measure intelligence, even though I've never taken it. But just because someone's intelligent doesn't mean they're going to amount to anything. And just because someone is not very intelligent doesn't mean that they can't amount to anything. So I think an IQ test is a great measure of intelligence, but that doesn't shape what you are. Like street smarts also matter a lot. And growing up in a sheltered, lifestyle, like quarantine is doing to people, is like, if you grow up in this fear mongering lockdown, no matter how high your IQ is, you're going to be fucked up. Bernoulli, great comment. You're absolutely right about IQ. A psychologist told me it's not really healthy to actually know your IQ. I agree with that. I will never tell my kids what their IQ is, but I would love to know what my kids' IQ is. So, yeah, I plan to test my kids for their IQ, but I won't tell them. I'll try to test them when they're really, really young, and then maybe like test them up to a point like of their age where they don't know that that was an IQ test. And I would know because I want to know, because I want to know whether my kids are going to surpass their IQ ability or not. And I won't tell them, but I would want to know that. Okay, so let's see what's going on with the markets. Those are great discussions, guys. I'm enjoying this discussion. Bernoulli said he dated a girl who knows their parents did exactly that with 4 kids. I mean, that's what I would want to do. I mean, I'd want to know. Like, I'd want to know how far I can push my kids on the intellectual, stairmaster. Like, if I'd want to know. If my kids did not break 100 on the IQ test, I would have to, adjust how hard I push them educationally wise. You know? No, I agree. A high IQ does not make up for a strong work ethic and attitude, and I agree. But a high IQ gives you a leg up. It puts you. It gives you a better starting point. But just because you start the race with an advantage doesn't mean you're going to win the race. You have an advantage, but you can throw it away. Someone said it's also a good way to know if you're a father. There's an easier way to know that you're a father. It's called a blood test. So it's okay. I got nothing else to add on the charts here. We are like at this point, I now want GBTC to go as low as it can into the end of next week because that's when I'll be able to allocate more funds to it. I had a super chat. Jazz, hey buddy. Tone, thanks for all the analysis. Can you please review Tesla? Sure. It's not much to review. It's bullish. Weekly scale bullish. Few weeks to go. The next MRI top is critical. The reason why the next MRI top on Tesla is so critical is because all the extensions, A, B, and C, from this MRI top back in June of 2020 are over. They've ended. And this MRI top was not going to be a big top, in my opinion, because it was a double top ready for a breakout. That's exactly what happened. But this next MRI top, especially if it's a blow off top, imagine if the next high in 2 weeks comes on a candle like this. I would be bearish Tesla. Monthly still has room, a few more months to go, and daily is still bullish. Daily only completed extension A from the last MRI, and now we're completely reset, and there's still 2 more extensions, B and C. Now C is coming close to an end. We just need one more close above the all-time high of Tesla. What the hell is that line? I actually don't know what that line is. Oh, that's that. Okay, I don't really need that. That's the percentage move. And we just need a new high close on daily to complete extension C, but we still have, that's weekly, sorry. We need one more new all-time high close to complete extension C, and then we still have a bunch of candles to go to complete extension B, and then we probably still have another MRI top on the daily. So I'm still bullish Tesla, but I think it's going to top somewhere in the sometime before 800 and take a pretty significant correction. Twitter. I really need to start the private Zoom. Whoa, Twitter is doing well. I guess the censorship don't matter. And MRI top on the daily, and down we go. I would not be rushing into buy yet. I would wait for the MRI count to flip over, and I would buy on a green star. Because if you get a green star, this becomes a breakout above an MRI top after consolidation, after a 1 to 4 candle correction. But right now, I wouldn't be bearish either. I would have taken my profit on the MRI, and I would wait to get back in. Like, here's another example. Here's an MRI top. Here's an entry back in, because now I'm not confident in the correction. I would have been confident in the correction. This is definitely borderline shortable. I don't like the consolidation, but I love the candle, and we broke below that candle's low. And then we got a red star. So if you were I would rather be in a short trade right now than a long trade, but I'd probably be in no trade. However, I am bullish if a green star shows up later this week or next week above this red line, or I would just wait for a bigger correction. Weekly scale still has room to the upside. So I'm slightly more bullish than bearish, but right now, no trade. Well, MRI is asset agnostic. ASX, AVL. It's asset agnostic. So I don't like, stocks that spend an entire week and don't move in price is not really optimal for any TA. So I wouldn't use the MRI on this. Look, there's days where it doesn't even trade. 3 days where it didn't trade. I would not use the MRI. Maybe on a monthly scale. Here's a month where it didn't change in price, though it did bounce right off of second consecutive MRI. But I wouldn't use it. I wouldn't use it. Hey, Sand Snake. AT&T. Monthly chart's neutral. Weekly chart is beautiful MRI buy right after earnings. Still bullish-ish. I wouldn't want to position in this. That's on a weekly scale. And the daily scale might be on an MRI buy. Let's see. Yep, there it is. But this MRI buy, while giving you a bullish trade, beautiful MRI sell, by the way, too, is no longer on a bullish trade because now you've consolidated for too long. And now this is a bearish flag pennant, which has a high probability of dropping down. I wouldn't be in this. I wouldn't be in this. This will probably enter the extension phase. That was the beautiful MRI buy on the weekly with the daily, though the daily came before earnings. So this I would not have bought because of earnings. Okay, guys, I can't do these forever. I really can't. One last peek at Bitcoin before we close out. And we are dropping. This is not good. This is bearish descending triangle in the making. But I don't want to get out of my GBTC because the premium has been decimated. So I will hodl through it and I will add more on the dip because I made a big mistake not exiting. The big mistake not exiting was here, not necessarily here, because I don't trade in the first minute of market open. And it went straight down big time in the first minute. I don't even like to trade in the first 15 minutes. So the real mistake not exiting GBTC was here, not there. And that's the difference between getting lucky in trading and understanding trading. Okay. But it's okay. This is one of those times where even though I entered a swing trade position, I was willing to let this position hold indefinitely. So I don't have a problem with that. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all on the next one.